Now, hopefully we don't get any gremlins. What I'm going to ask you to do, Sean, is maybe go into the group and just see if you can log on and make sure you can see everything okay, because last week we had a problem with the connection dropping out. There's no rush, but it'll just give me some feedback that you can still see me and hear me loud and clear broadcasting. So I'll just flick through these slides for you, not particularly relevant for you as far as the agenda is concerned, and we'll just drop straight into the disclaimer. So if you're here for the first time, and if you're not, as always, we read a disclaimer out. Proof of payment is no guarantee that you'll earn the same, but it would be possible to earn this and more with equal or greater strategy and work ethic. Any earning figures shown are not a guarantee of income. Figures are presented for illustration and purposes only. So, who are USI? Well, they are a technology company that has specialized for many years in developing automated trading software. In layman's terms, that means robotics or expert advisors. It's the tools that a lot of the large financial institutions, banks, etc., will use in order to trade. They don't trade normally. They'll have somebody as an expert trader sitting there to oversee it, but it's software that drives the majority of the market trading. This is what they've been doing for probably the last 8 or 9 years. They've developed over 100 different versions of this software, and it's really why I got involved early on. We were looking at trying to find some software that was stable, that was fully automated, and by that I mean that you did not have to be sat in front of a screen day trading, watching signals, reading charts, and executing trades yourself, because that basically is a job that ties you to somewhere, to a retail premises, to a computer. And what we were looking for is to have time freedom where we could be anywhere in the world and let software go to work for us. And that's really what USI were all about. Back in 2016, you needed $100,000 in order to get access to the software. So it was very much for corporate America and VIP clients with those sort of funds. That all changed. They brought the threshold down to $1,000. That started people flooding in. And in March of 2017, USI diversified into cryptocurrency, as did many other companies. So please don't think they're unique. I'm involved with another company that is a private organization that also diversified from Forex to crypto and is doing incredibly well likewise. So they're not unique, but what is unique is how they've done it. Behind the scenes, let's take you through the corporate team. Sorry, my voice is bad enough today. Just requesting a glass of water. Poor old Sean's doing the runaround for me. Behind the corporate team, we've got Ralph Gold. Now, Ralph has managed and traded for numerous VIP clients over the last 3 years. He is certainly heads up the trading strategy of USI. So what that guy doesn't know about Forex and the trading world isn't worth knowing. He's supported in turn by Horst Jitcher. Horst has a corporate background in commercial securities and was responsible for large operations and administrative team, and has floated 2 companies for many millions. And I can tell you that Horst is set to retire, and don't they always say that, but in 2019. Now, you really need to hang on to that, because what you need to understand is if the man at the helm who's driving this forward, with Ralph and Michael we'll talk about in a moment, is set to retire, there is a clear agenda with this company to ensure that everything that they can do possibly to get the bottom line right and looking as attractive as possible before he retires is going to be the way that this company is going to develop through 2018 and 2019. I think it is Horst's intention, having spoken with him, that they will float publicly. And of course, if you've been on that trail before with any companies, Horst has done it twice before, then you will understand that really it's all about getting the bottom line right, as attractive as possible, so that when the shares are issued, then of course the share price is as high as possible. Behind that, we have Mike Kiefer. Mike runs the networking side of the business. It was Mike's idea to network this out rather than spending millions on global marketing, as many of the other companies such as Nadex do. Mike, as it says here, is the company ambassador with a huge amount of experience in building network marketing teams around the globe. And he supports us and many others in changing lives. And Mike, I think, is currently in Singapore, I believe. He spends his life flying from territory to territory, does a phenomenal job. And it's great to work very closely with him to ensure that we can pass that information and his support down the line. Now, one of the big changes is they've recently appointed a director of product development. That is Evan Ahern. Now, Evan is I'm sure he won't mind me telling you, he's a multi-billionaire. He's based here in the States, and I'll take you through some of his track record, but he's spent the last 15 years raising over $4 billion from capital markets. He has owned numerous companies, and you'll see that it is over 50 in his time, has many of those corporations still running. You can Google him. Incredible character. And as far as what he knows in the technology world and the guys and the people and the individuals that he works with, it is simply outstanding. We got to know a lot more about Evan at the anniversary event in London. He works closely on a day-to-day basis with expert teams of investors, scientists, and engineers. And his focus very much is on technology infrastructure and percentage systems integrations, which is a bit of a mouthful, but in simple terms, they are focused on new technologies that create renewable energy, heating and cooling solutions, and specifically the reason that the partnerships have been structured between Evan, his companies, and USI is really the ability to merge that and include that with the blockchain solutions. So you'll see as I go through some of these slides how the fit works perfectly. He is working, as I've already indicated, with the best people around and certainly the leading scientific minds in the world. And it is without any question when you start to get an understanding of what is going on behind the scenes. We're all here to look at how we earn money. But going on from that, what we are really looking at closely is what is going on behind the scenes to make this company such a success and to put them into a position where they are the world leader in this field. So let's talk about products. Well, there's two fundamental things that they're working to. One is a strategic investment fund, and the other is really financial license opportunities. So that includes exchanges, brokerages, online banking, and one of the other things that they are looking very closely at the moment is ATM distribution strategy, which I'll come back to very shortly. Now, what's got everybody excited? I think one of the things that Evan released, and Sean was over in the UK with me, but we had the opportunity of seeing firsthand, was that they're focused very much on getting the bottom line up, as I've mentioned. Just go back to what I was talking to you about with regards to floating the company publicly, I should say, in 2019 and getting that bottom line up. Now, when we look at really the costs involved with this business, you've of course got usual business premises, that type of thing. But these guys work from around the world. That's one of the great things about businesses online. You're not tied to any one place. Their head offices are based in Dubai for many reasons. I'm sure one of them is tax. But what really is the heavy cost with Bitcoin mining is electricity. And if you can get rid of 90% of your mining cost, and that's the part that, as a percentage, that makes up the mining, then you are really heads, shoulders above the rest of the market completely. So you'll see on here the hydrogen electric generator. This has been patented. This is what Evan has brought to the table, and this will be connected, or these will be connected to the investment that USI Tech have made into $70 million of mining rigs over the next 4 to 5 weeks. That will be run as the initial test, and the aim, quite simply, is to bring the cost down of their mining strategy by around 80%. Now, if that happens, they are then, without any question, going to be able to dominate the marketplace, and the company then has a decision as to whether they retain that technology for themselves or whether they license it out to other individuals and, of course, generate profit from that. So pretty smart move. So let's talk about mining statistics. Where do USI Tech stand in the marketplace? Well, currently, just think about this. Since March, they moved and diversified. I got involved in the Bitcoin side on the 9th of March of this year. They now have already 1% of the global Bitcoin mining in just 7 to 8 months. A staggering achievement. They've gone from a few thousand members, and certainly by changing the structure and setting the Bitcoin packages as they are, we're heading towards nearly 500,000 members in that time. They have 2.5% currently of the global Ethereum mining, so a larger chunk. And they've, just as I've mentioned, invested $70 million into their own mining hardware, which is obviously securing cash flow for the company for the future. So rather than outsourcing the mining, it's now going to be done in-house. And every single month, the company have set aside an additional $10 million to continue to invest into the hardware. So that will continue to expand, of course, as our network expands. So we move through 500,000 to 1 million. The back office is now structured to deal with probably 30 million people. As this organization grows, so obviously the mining is going to have to grow, and those funds have already been set aside to deal with that. And without any question, that to combine with the technology and the linking of obviously the hydrogen electric generator to that system will put them in the position as the global leader within crypto mining. Very quickly, I'm going to talk to you about the ATM strategy. I can't tell you too much at the moment, but this will excite you. If you are looking to grow your own business and you want to work out a great way of building a team, one of the things that Evan is looking very closely at the moment is to be part of the rollout of Bitcoin ATM machines globally. It's estimated that there are 3 million cash ATMs worldwide. And the plan, very simply, is to simplify the purchase and selling of cryptocurrency. So the machine you see on the right, you're going to start to see a lot more of these popping up. And it is USI Tech's intention to be a very large player in that technology, to the extent that you will be able to lease your own machine, put it in your own shopping mall, try and translate that back to the UK, but your shopping centre. I've been over here too long now. You will be able to not only do that, but you can have your advertising space on there. People will be able to convert their fiat currency into whatever cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, TechCoin, the new TechCoin. And more importantly, people will be able to click on a page on the screen and join USI Tech, join you in your business through the machines. So we don't know any more details at the moment, but that will give you an understanding of what is coming down the line. So in addition to that, we are going to have full product transparency. I know there's been a lot of comments since London about how quickly that's going to be in place. What I can tell you at the moment is until the full migration is done, and they have had some difficulties because there are nearly 400,000 accounts to migrate across to the new platform. Until that's done, they're not going to implement additional complexity to that. So they need to do this in stages, get everything running right, make sure all the packages and all the data in the back office reads correctly. But you will be able to, as soon as that's settled and the migration is finished, go into your back office and you will be able to see the blocks labeled USI Tech that are being mined for Bitcoin trading. You'll be able to do exactly the same with the new Forex product, which I'm going to come on to in a moment. And of course, that transparency will give everybody complete peace of mind and legitimacy to not only you, but of course the government regulators, the FTC, the SEC, and so on. A great addition, and they are swamped because of the migration, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment, and I'm going to ask for your patience, but there is now 24/7 phone support. And you are in a position now to contact that support. There are numbers, and I'll put one up on the screen here for you in a second. But there are global locations in multiple time zones in Europe, in Southern America, in Northern America, in the Philippines, where obviously support are now handling these sort of details and typically whatever it is that you throw at them. And 80% of the support prior to now really was based on technical issues, which a lot of that now with the new back office will be going away. But what I would like to ask you to do is please just give them some time. Well, I understand it's frustrating when your back office is not reading correctly. It all will be straightened out and corrected. But what's happening is everybody is plaguing them with more support tickets. Imagine 500,000 people sending support tickets on a daily basis, and they've got to try and get on top of that. So unless it's really urgent, and unless you've put in several requests and you're not having them answered at all, then please just give them some time. to get caught up, because if you don't and you keep throwing them at them, it's just going to take longer and longer. They can only deal with so many. If you need a number, there is a number for you in the US. You can dial that if you're elsewhere via Skype or WhatsApp, 702-522-1640, and that will get you through to the support team. Everything's still ticking over all right, Sean? Still hear me and see me in there somewhere? Okay, let's talk about the products. First of all, the Bitcoin packages. Well, very simple. They are 50 euros or around $60 per package. So I'm going to go into that in more detail. You then have the new Forex trading packages. They're not in your back office yet. But what has happened in the company is to make life even easier for you, rather than having to buy the software, rather than having to connect that up using a MetaTrader 4 platform, and rather than you having to go and get your own broker account and wire money to that, and rather than you having to get a VPN, a virtual private network, or a server that keeps you in contact with your software 24 hours a day, they've made it very simple. They're going to break it down and stick to what is successful. Why reinvent the wheel? So the Bitcoin packages have been unbelievably received. They're going to do the same with Forex. You'll buy a Forex package for 50 euros. The company will trade it using their expertise and their software, and they will generate you the same return. I'll go into that in a moment. And then, of course, there is the Tech coin, which I'm going to explain in more detail. There are several options of packages that you can buy, and I'll take you through that so you've got a better understanding of it. Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin packages. The first one. Bitcoin package, very simple. You can purchase one Bitcoin package. You can purchase 10,000 if you wish. There's no limits. In which Bitcoin is effectively the equivalent to 50 euros. So what the company have done is broken Bitcoin prices down into 50 euro lumps. It'll always be 50 euros. Wherever you are in the world, it will simply be done as a conversion. And you'll now see in your back office that if you happen to be, for example, in America, then it will show you not only the price in Bitcoin, but it will calculate that for you in dollars. It knows where you are in the world. So it shows you your relevant currency. And you will receive around 1% per working day for roughly 140 days. In other words, you'll get a return of capital, not profit, capital of 140%. So let me explain two things, because people do misunderstand this. Firstly, it runs until you reach 140%. That is the determining factor. If it takes 115 days to do that because the returns have been so good each day, then that's what it takes. The minute it hits 140%, you've been paid back, that package ceases to exist, and that is that. And it is not profit, it's return of capital. And what that means is that you've bought your package for 50 euros, you are getting that returned to you every day. So you're getting your money back plus 40% profit. 40% of 50 is 20 euros. So you're getting effectively 70 euros back once you've achieved the 140%. So the minute it's hit that, the package is dead, it ceases to exist, it's taken off, and you will get an email to say that that package is now ceased and you've been paid your profit. So the Forex, very simple, very similar. The difference really between the two, if you want me to break it down, and why would you be thinking about buying one rather than the other, is quite simply look at what's been going on with Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin, which we'll come onto on a slide, has moved almost up by $1,000 in the last 24 hours. Forex is going to be pretty stable. You're trading, and they are trading for you, one currency against the other. If you don't understand the Forex market, the best way of me explaining it is simply that if you decided to go to Spain on holiday tomorrow and you went to the airport and you needed to exchange your dollars into euros, then they will give you an exchange rate to do that, so that when you get there, you can go and buy your sangria on the beach if you wish to. That is basically what Forex is predicting, which currency, which in currency pairs, which currency is going to go up or down against one another. And these guys who are now doing it for us, the USI Tech team, have some very clever software that can read the markets, that take into account outside influences, and therefore it's very simple. You don't need to worry about that. You just simply opt in, buy your package. You know you're going to get 40%, 140% return of capital. Your money's back to you. you've made your 20 euros on each package, and then it's just a question of mathematics. It's scalable. The more packages you have, the more profit you make, and then you decide whether you withdraw it or you compound it, which I'll go into shortly. There's then the Tech coin, ICO. Well, this is the new product, and this is what's got everybody very excited. I'm going to talk about it in more detail, but you can now purchase Tech coin tokens, which are part of the ICO, which is an initial, I've misspelt that, coin offering. Very simply, I'm going to explain to you when we get to the slides as to what you can do and what you can expect to achieve, and really where this should sit in your portfolio of packages. The packages, as you can see on screen, that you can buy are silver, gold, ruby, emerald, and diamond. They vary from about $58 to $2,900 to around $12,600, and right to the diamond to around $58,000. Now, the important thing for you to understand with this is that if you've not been involved in an ICO, quite simply, you are able to buy these tokens are actually representing the coin. The coin at some point, when we hit a certain threshold, and I'll tell you about that, is going to go to the exchange, to the markets, and it will have a value put on it. And therefore, the incentive that you have at the moment, treat it a little bit like having preferential share options in a company where you're able to buy the shares ahead of flotation at a better price than you will be after. And therefore, there is a big win that can be achieved depending on obviously the price that's set at the point that the USI Tech take the coin to the exchange. Down the right-hand side, you can see that if you buy a gold package, you start with 5,000 tokens. That's what you're getting. And that will double up to 10,000 tokens, providing you've acquired that prior to the company hitting certain thresholds. So let me tell you that if they sell 125 million of those tokens, the gold package bonus will be removed. So if you buy 5,000 tokens after 125 million have been sold, then you will not get the double up bonus. And that is critically important. So if you are looking at this and it's a bit more of a long-term play, then do think seriously about it before they reach the 125 million mark. And I think at the moment they're at around 40 million. So, Sean, let's get you back in. The big question is why you should be involved. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. I'm going to find out where I've hidden the screen. Let's try and do that, which is there. Okay, so Bitcoin's price today. Let's take a look at that. Well, as of this morning, this was a snapshot done at about 9 o'clock. You can tell what I do with breakfast. I logged on. I was amazed. I went to bed last night. I flew over from California into Minnesota. It was sitting at about 6,400. I got up this morning and Bitcoin had moved to $7,203. Volatile as ever, up and down, but it fluctuates and moves. I'm just being told it's Bitcoin price now 7,341. So it's up again. Why? Well, I'll tell you about that in a moment. But what you need to understand, two things, is that in January of this year, just in January, it was $798.44 on January the 12th. So it's moved from 798 to almost 7,980 in the space of a few months. Have you missed the boat? No. And let me tell you why. Yesterday, there was an announcement from Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME as they're known, that they are going to move into Bitcoin futures trading in the last quarter of this year. That has absolutely sent the market into turmoil because now that means a whole load of things and it's getting back towards SEC regulation. And are we getting much closer now to Bitcoin being regulated and becoming an official currency globally? And if you look at this slide very closely, Mark Yusko, who is the founder and CEO of Morgan Creek Capital, they manage about $3.7 billion in assets, $3.7 billion in assets. He believes realistically that one Bitcoin will be worth at some point $400,000. Now, these guys are smart individuals, and he's not the only one saying that. It's very difficult to understand and take that sort of number in, but you need to understand it's supply and demand. There is a finite amount of Bitcoin, and the less that is available, the higher the price is going to go. That works with every commodity around the world, not unique to cryptocurrency. But you then have to factor that in with a whole list of other things that could happen. We have the Securities and Exchange Commission, who are having ETFs, exchange traded funds, put in front of them regularly, and they're having to find a good reason not to sanction and regulate Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. And it's just a matter of time before that happens. You have Amazon, who, as of the last 10 days, have just bought AmazonBitcoin.com, AmazonCryptocurrency.com, AmazonEthereum.com. Why? Well, don't know for fact, but we believe that it's a matter of time before probably the world's biggest retailer, online retailer, is going to accept cryptocurrency as part and parcel of means to pay for their goods online. When that happens, the price is going to go through the roof. So ask yourself the question, do you start today or do you wait for that to happen? People are really miffed that they didn't buy Bitcoin at $798. Is it 7,500 too high? Of course it isn't, because you can now break that down into small 50 euro packages. The big win here is that you're buying Bitcoin in small packages, you get paid out in Bitcoin, and the focus is really one thing. We all want to be owning as much or as many Bitcoin as we possibly can whilst that price and the market continues to rise. If you think you've missed the market, well, you haven't. There's a slide that just gives you an idea. I'm not going to dwell too much on this because we've got a lot to get through and we're 40 minutes in. Bill Gates is worth 86 billion. Bitcoin at the moment only makes up around about 66. In fact, that slide is slightly out of date. I think that's moved around through to about 75 billion in the last 3 weeks. So that'll give you an idea of how quickly people are now getting on board. It's becoming a daily discussed topic. If you look at all physical money, 31 trillion. So it's a very small dot on the landscape at the moment, but that is going to change. So no, you haven't missed the boat. Forget what the price is. Just decide to get involved, because if the price moves, and I think realistically, for what I know, which is very little, I suspect that by the end of next year, we can comfortably be looking at $20,000 per Bitcoin. So 7,000 today, there's a lot of money to be made in that cycle itself. Warren Buffett, well, interesting character. I'm sure most of you know him. He's often looked at as being the sound guy to go to for advice. Well, he said out of his $49 billion that they were investing, they hadn't moved any into Bitcoin. That was about 4 weeks before he then went on to CNBC and said that the Bitcoin was a brilliant, unprecedented innovation, and they started moving large sums of their funds across into Bitcoin. Richard Branson, I think it is working. There will be other currencies like it that may be even better. But in the meantime, there is a big industry around Bitcoin. Richard Branson has been holding blockchain meetings on his island for 10 days for the last 7 or 8 years, and they are heavily involved in Bitcoin. Ben Bernanke. Virtual currencies may hold a long-term promise, particularly if the innovations promote a faster, more secure, and more efficient payment system. What he's meaning by that is that the banks that are ridiculous to deal with on a day-to-day basis, that take too long to transfer money and charge us too much to do it, are going to have to come in line or lose. It's as simple as that. Bill Gates, Bitcoin is exciting because it shows how cheap it is. Financial transactions can be. Bitcoin is better than currency in that you don't have to be anywhere physically in the same place. And of course, for large transactions, currencies can get pretty inconvenient. Have you ever gone to your bank to try and send $200,000 somewhere? They want to know who it's for, and you'll have 15 different questions you have to answer. You don't have that problem with Bitcoin. So ATM machines, well, we've talked about that briefly. USI Tech are looking very closely at them. We've talked about Australia. They've rolled out 1,500 with another 4,000 to follow. That is going to be commonplace now in many countries around the world, and you're going to start to see them popping up where you can go and carry out your transactions. And certainly as far as USI Tech are concerned, you'll be in a position to join USI Tech through those. So how do you make money? Well, very quickly, you get a daily payment, which is a return of capital that we alluded to earlier. And I'm talking specifically about Bitcoin packages at the moment. You have daily withdrawals of those returns and commissions. So you can pull that money out, providing you have more than 10 euros, you can withdraw that into your wallet. The commissions and the daily returns of capital can be used immediately to buy more packages, which in turn creates a really profitable compounding effect. So for example, let's say you bought 20 Bitcoin packages. They were €1,000. The run time is approximately 140 working days. That would pay you, from the €1,000, you would receive €1,400 back over that period. And that's assuming, as it says at the bottom of that slide, without any increase in Bitcoin. So just think about that if you're running for 140 working days, that's approximately 7 calendar months. Then if Bitcoin, where would Bitcoin be if you bought those packages today in 7 months? Would it be at 10,000? So of course, if you're being paid out in Bitcoin, then the value of what you're being paid out has gone up significantly. It's important to understand that. So this is a slide from your back office. You have now in your new back office a calculator. It's much improved. And here I've just put that example into it for you. You can see at the top left, 20 packages. We're assuming 1% return of capital per day, and we've set it to 100% rebuy. In other words, as fast as you're making money, the system automatically will take that profit and buy you more packages. And you can see as you look down active packages there, that you start for the first 4 days with 20 packages. And by the 5th day, you've made enough money that the system can buy you another package, and you've now gone from 20 to 21 packages. So let's fast forward that same example, 20 packages, €1,000, 1 calendar year, 260 working days. And you can see from that you are generating a return of capital at that point with the 120 packages that you have running. Look under active packages. Your packages have gone from 20, assuming you've not withdrawn any money, and assuming 1% return of capital per day, you've gone from 20 packages to 120 packages in the space of that year. And that's obviously on 100% compounding. So you can see under the return of capital that you've got 0.0092 as a daily payment that is coming to you from those 120 packages. And if we take the figure of today's rate at 7,300, that means that those packages will pay you $67.16 per day. 21 days in a month, that's $1,410 per month, 12 months in a year, $16,924 a year, and you started with $1,000. Now, of course, you can't want to pull all of that out because you still want to grow your business, you still want to grow and have more packages, but you can start to see how it starts to dramatically affect things. If you put 200 packages, let's increase it by a scale of 10, then your figures start to change dramatically. At the end of year 1, you can see here that you, instead of having 200 packages, underlined in red, you've got 1,231 packages, and it's paying you 10 times that figure, which is around $160,000 a year. So you started with 200 packages for €10,000, you've compounded for a year, you're now being paid 0.09 Bitcoin. Now, if you go a year ahead, and we said, look, potentially a year ahead, you could be looking at, let's say, $15,000, double where we're at now for Bitcoin. And you're getting paid 0.095 times $15,000 a day. That is $1,425 per day, assuming Bitcoin was at 15,000. You can play around with this all day long. It's a colossal amount of money for a modest stake initially. And we'll take it up to silly numbers. Here you can see with 2,000 Bitcoin packages, that's 100,000. And believe you me, there is a lot of people coming in with those sort of numbers. You're being paid virtually 1 Bitcoin a day, 0.95. Your 2,000 packages have become 12,344. In the time of that year's gone on, 6,000 have retired and already paid you out, 6,500. And you're being paid 1 Bitcoin virtually a day. Let's say it was at 10,000. That's $10,000 per day. It's only 10 days to recover what you spent initially. So you can start to see the power of compounding. That's not unique to USI Tech. That's just maths. And if you compound, then of course the profits increase, your volume increases, so you trade it on the same percentage day in, day out, and therefore your returns get greater and greater. So everything you've seen so far is completely passive. And And this is what your back office looks like. So you can see here, I'm not going to spend too much time on that because we are ticking out of time. But your new back office shows you your packages, the number of people in your downline. Number 2 on there in orange shows you your available balance currently in Bitcoin. And of course, then at the bottom, you can see your daily return of capital, the number of registered members you have in your team, both directly linked to you and from those directs that have then in turn gone and bought other people in, and your last commission payments. And then the rest of it is made up of tokens, which we'll talk about in more detail. The compensation plan, very briefly, the qualification has changed, but they take 35% of the package funds and they spread that back through 12 levels. So we're paid very simply on a uni-level basis. If you choose to share this with other people, I'm going to explain to you how it works. You don't even need to put any money in. You can come into USI Tech, join for free, and you can refer somebody else who buys some packages, and you receive 10% immediately in your back office. Not only do you get 10% of what they buy now, you get 10% of their account for life. So as their account, and everybody is setting them to compounding, to grow initially, then every time their system automatically buys another package for 50 euros, you receive 5 euros instantly. That happens in your back office. So we have many people that have started with no disposable income, gone out and shared this with others, received 10% from a number of people they've shared it with, started to buy their packages, and their business is up and running. So how do you get the other levels? Well, then you've got level 2 and level 3, which you will be paid 3% on. But you need to qualify for that. And for that, you need to find 3 people who join you directly, who each buy 12 packages. That will open up levels 2 and 3. From there, for each level, 4 through to 12, you need to find 1 more person that joins you directly that buys at least 12 packages. And that will open up all 12 levels, which looks like that. So level 1 through to 12, you're getting paid 10%, 3%, 3%, right the way down. But of course, you have to open those levels to qualify. And that's specific to Bitcoin. Okay, very quickly. TechCoin. I want to talk about this because I think it's important you understand this, but we'll then start to wrap things up. And I know it's the subject that some people are struggling with. So TechCoin, what is an ICO? Well, it's an initial coin offering, not unique to USI. It's the means of actually offering a coin, a crypto coin, and there's many of them out there, Bitcoin being one, Ethereum, Lite, Dash, it goes on, Ripple. Also commonly referred to as an ICO, it's a fundraising mechanism in which new projects sell their underlying crypto tokens in exchange for Bitcoin. It's somewhat similar to an initial public offering that I referred to earlier on, known as an IPO, in which investors purchase shares of a company, and if it's ahead of flotation, those shares will be at a preferential rate. So let's try and keep it simple for you. TechCoin is at a pre-launch stage at the moment. It's limited to 500 million tokens. I've already mentioned they've sold, USI being they, have sold around about 40 million so far. That number is in your back office. And it's initially for the members only. It's not going to go out to general public. There's 500 million that is being retained, and that will be the tipping point. Once the 500 million have gone, then the company will take the coin to the exchange, and the coin, your tokens, will be exchanged for coins, and the coin will then be given a value. So TechCoin itself, which is the coin that USI have launched, has to be propped and supported to have a value. And the whole structure behind TechCoin is basically the technology that we were showing you earlier on that Evan is bringing to the table. And the more technology that sits there, that is usable throughout the world, and if you start getting into the sort of things that he is at the moment, the patented technology that gets rid of an electrical cost, just think about the industries that can help. And therefore, as that is licensed out to other industries, think about the value of TechCoin, because it's that is directly connected to the coin itself. So who wouldn't want to get involved? So let me just take you back through this slide briefly. Those are your packages down the left-hand side. And I just want to explain to you that there is a double option here for you that USI Tech have put in place. So if you go in and buy the gold package for $2,900, you get 5,000 tokens. And the minute that 100 125 million tokens have been sold, your gold package will double to 10,000 tokens. Likewise, if you bought the ruby package, then it's going to double twice. The thresholds are at gold level. The minute it gets to 125 million, the gold package will double. You will never be able to double those again. If you bought the gold package after that, it's it. 5,000 tokens is what you've got. You do not get the double up. The ruby package, the threshold is 250. Then the emerald will be 375. And then finally, the 500 million will be the diamond package. And that quadruples. So you start with 100,000 tokens, and that will double each time the packages prior to that double. Bit complicated to explain, but just understand that at some point, if you own a gold package, the company sells 125 million tokens, then your package will double from 5,000 to 10,000. What does that mean? Well, let's look at the cryptocurrency tokens, the coins that are out there. Bitcoin isn't on there because we know how great Bitcoin is, but there's Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Litecoin, Dash, Neo, etc. Let's take Ripple that the banks are working with at the moment. Currently got a value as of last week at 21 cents per coin. Okay, not a lot. Look at Litecoin, $62 per coin. So what if you buy your gold package? Let's keep it nice and simple. You see it on the right for $3,000, and when the company take the coin to the exchange, when 500 million tokens have been sold to members, and at this rate, with the membership joining, it's not going to take that long to get there, you will have 10,000 tokens at 5, because it's doubled. You had 5 to start with. It would have been doubled, providing you've bought ahead of when they hit the 125 million mark. My apologies. Then your tokens will be worth $50,000 at just $5 a coin. Now, I can't tell you it's going to be $5 a coin. It could be $2 a coin. You can do the maths, but you only paid $2,900 for your package. So there's the win. It's effectively like buying shares in commodities, knowing that at some point those shares are going to be floated and the value is going to increase. It's a longer term play. It's not as quick, and you don't see the daily returns immediately. It's an opportunity for you to buy now in a technology and reap the benefits as and when they take that to the exchange. What you need to be looking at is what are USI Tech doing in the background to increase the value of those coins, and that's where the technology comes in. That's what you need to focus on in order to make that buying decision. You can see here some other examples, which I won't go through too much, but again, if it was just $20 a coin and we saw Litecoin at 62, then it's $200,000 that you've made from a $3,000 purchase. Not bad. And so you can run on. The diamond package is crazy numbers because it quadruples 4 times over that period. And for what you've spent out at $57,000, those coins will be worth, at $5 a coin, nearly $8 million. So incentives, very quickly, they are still in existence. Nothing's changed. You've got 2,000 Bitcoin packages. Well, the minute you hit that and maintain that, the company will pay you 800 euros per month in your back office. You don't even need to prove that you've purchased a car with it. They will give you that for maintaining 2,000 Bitcoin packages. If you maintain 5,000 Bitcoin packages, then they will pay you double that straight into your back office. That's a mortgage payment, 1,600 euros a month, just as a bonus for getting to those marks in Bitcoin packages. Other incentives, well, a lot of people went to Mallorca back in January. Unfortunately, I missed that trip. Sorry, back in October. I missed that. But there are other incentives coming. Hawaii is rumored to be the next, and the company will announce exactly what we are going to need to do in order to enjoy that. And let me tell you, the trips are incredibly luxurious, 5-star, all expenses paid, normally for 2 to 4 days. So you want to make sure you're on there. Okay, I'm not going to go through the tools now. I think we're pretty much done on timing. I don't want to keep you too long. I'm just going to drop back in and stop sharing my screen.